Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Good morning, this is Elevate Television Wednesday Morning Digest. I'm your host Moses Muiruri, and this is going to be an amazing show today. Tell you what, we are talking about funding, fundraising for innovations and ideas. And we know that finding funding for your new startup, new innovation ideas is becoming more difficult. But it's not difficult. There are people who know how to do this. There are people who have been in this matter for long. And let me say this. If you have anyone that is, in any lab trying to raise something, trying to bring up an innovation, I want you to call them up. I want you to find them right away and let them know that we are on air and we're going to be discussing funding and fundraising for your new startup. But before we do that, you know the link, you know the drill. The link is already out and we want to send it wherever you are. Share it to all your friends. Let everybody know that we are online. So please pick it up. And if you have not liked Elevate TV on, Facebook, YouTube, all these platforms, please do so, because some of these productions that we create are for you, so we can prompt you right away. So please do that right away. Let's do that. I am doing that. Send it in your group, send in your work group, send in your buddies group, and we shall be able to look through into this matter, and let's talk. Our guest is in the house, and we shall be engage him, so that we can be able to have a conversation on these matters, and we are going to come out better than we began. So welcome, my friend. This is Elevate. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
Please look at that camera, and I want you to introduce yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me today. I'm glad to be here today to discuss one of the most important topics in the fundraising world. My name is Abedi Muange. I run a company called Matck, whereby we do investor readiness for early stage startups, and also help startups or companies which are looking for growth capital raise their next round for their enterprises.
Wow, thank you, Muange, for just taking time to be here with us this morning. It's an early morning, and I know you have quite a day. Talking about fundraising and startup capitals, you already have something, a tech start. You've done a tech enterprise. Maybe you can discuss that for a minute, because it's important for us to come from somewhere.
Yeah. Thank you very much once again. So I started off my first startup back in 2017, 2018, around there. That's when I formed my first entity, which was around, is a technology company, which was doing student transportation and basic technology around student transportation. I would say for first-time founder, it's not an easy journey, because one, I was coming from corporate world, then I started my first venture. There are a couple of things which I didn't know. I made several mistakes. I did not know who to go to, who is going to hold my hand, who is going to give me mentorship, guidance. So I would say for first-time founders, it's not usually very easy, especially if you don't have the ecosystem or a community or a mentor who is going to work with you and guide you through the journey of building a venture.
Amazing. What would you call, what would you define as an innovation or a startup? Because sometimes I think there's always a mix-up here.
Yeah, I would say
innovation startup.
Yes, innovations. Of course, it starts as a small company. You see, a startup is a small company. It's a small entity which is waiting to become, something big, an establishment at some stage, if, of course, it survives throughout the journey of building a company. So I would say there is more or less, I don't know whether there's much difference. It's only that one is not yet a fully fledged organization. It is still in its early stages. There are a few things, maybe structures which are not in place.
We say it's still in the laptop.
Yeah, still in the laptop, actually, yeah. Some would say it's like sort of a briefcase because it's not an entity which is out there. You are still building the solution itself for the problem you want to solve. You have not yet maybe even registered the entity. You have not yet formed structures. You don't have a proper team in place. I would say that is an early stage or idea stage startup.
What are the key challenges now that you came from there that startups actually go through? You know, these new startups, and there are many.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at some of these, some of these people, everybody has something. Like you've described, maybe even not registered, but it's running. Maybe they don't have an office, it's running. They don't have, systems, but it's running. What are the key challenges you found out from your story and from your journey?
I would say the biggest challenge, one, for an innovator or somebody who is building something is, I don't want to say access to capital, because one is even getting the product out there. The idea, building the idea, or even having proper resources to build an idea which can turn out to be a big business. That very first stage is usually a challenge, and especially if you don't have a community or people you can talk to, or I would say I'll still go back to a mentor, somebody who has been in the journey, who have done mistakes, who are able to quickly guide you so that you don't walk a long journey of making several mistakes. There's
something somebody said, seated there, said about, he was talking about innovations. He said, if you're not trying to solve a problem, you don't have an innovation.
True. True. And it's good you mentioned that we have a lot of innovations, even here in Kenya. There are quite a lot of innovations which are coming up. People are trying to solve this and that kind of problem. Some are trying to solve the same problem with different approaches. But unless really it's a painful problem where somebody is going to remove their money from their wallet and pay for that, then at least you might need to think harder. Are you really solving an actual problem? Because if it's a business, of course, you need to get a return of your investment and time, and people are going to need to pay for whatever you're offering. So if people are not willing to pay for the solution you're offering, then I don't think you are solving an actual problem.
Is it you could be solving a problem, but maybe you've not been able to sell that idea properly, because I feel sometimes it's true. So most of the innovations, you wonder, what is this thing solving? Literally, I mean, I can do this. This one can do this for me. In fact, this one is doing it at even a slower pace. And then you see, man is a key. Man and change. Man and change has a problem. It takes time for man to change. Why are we talking about fundraising matters, my friend? And I think it's a key issue, because I've come across some people, and like I was telling you off camera, I was in a meeting somewhere this weekend, and there's a brilliant innovation, and I want you to speak into it, because this gentleman has gone through quite some problem. Because it's a brilliant innovation. You can see it. You can see the need it's meeting. You can. It's realistic. He has beautiful ideas that are being put on a platform. But then he's been able to go out here. The people who should hold his hand, like you're saying, and I want you to talk about it, because tech has its own issues. The people who are supposed to hold his hand actually were now even trying to frustrate him. The stories he has. In fact, he told me, one day I'll give you the stories in full. I mean, and this is something he has run for 6 years. At the lab, now he's at testing stage. Some of these people had a lot of money. They were telling him to sell them the innovation. And I mean, you can see the frustration. He wants to see an idea, and sometimes ideas need the owner to be able to be developed even more. And so I want you to speak into it about that kind of, and the reason why we are talking about funding for to meet some of this need.
Yeah, I think access to funding is one of the challenges, especially to businesses around in sub-Saharan Africa, and even, of course, here in Kenya. Accessing capital is not easy, and also is not hard. It depends really with your network and the people you are talking to, or rather how you even package yourself. from your pitch decks, from your documentation, from your preparation, from how you are selling your story to the investors. Of course, there are some people who are not like genuine people. Also, there are other people who would really, because me, I usually see from my interaction with investors, I've been able to see a serious investor will not want like to take away your idea or your innovation, because remember, you are the vision bearer of this. You are the person behind it. If they are genuine enough, of course they would want to support you and work with you, because at the least you will be the person running the project, not them. Them, they can only give you support and be able to guide you through taking it to the next level and connect with the right networks, even raise more capital for them even to return their own investment. So I would say the challenge I would really say is because the kind of the network he was talking to might have been the wrong one. Maybe how he sold the story, how you also pitch or package yourself. As actually sometimes some of these things they don't need to be like taught.
Yeah.
Some you learn along the way, but it's a longer journey when you are learning yourself. If you get somebody who is genuine enough and ready to support you and guide you through quickly, it becomes easier for you to turn around an idea to an actual business and even raise capital from serious investors who are able to come in and get minority shareholding, or if it's debt, whatever the arrangement it is, and work with you the journey.
My friend, let me ask you something. Because sometimes we need to look at all angles of this matter.
Yeah.
When you're looking at unique needs of a startup, this, sometimes when you talk about capital funding, people think it's money to eat. Or it's money to. Sometimes it's good. For you, this is your field. You play there. Some of us don't play there, brother. When you talk about funding, we may be thinking ni pesa ya sherehe bwana.
So maybe I can break it down.
Yeah.
Because also you look at.
Or even answer this: why do I need funding at a startup point? What is it for?
You need funding as a startup or a young company to, and also even before I answer that, I think that question has to be answered from yourself, because why do you need capital?
And remember, this is an innovation. We are at an innovation stage where we are still developing. Maybe because in development there's a lot of needs that actually require lots of resources. So I want you to speak into it so that some people don't think we are talking about money to eat somewhere.
Okay. Your business needs money because, of course, it needs. If it's a product you're building and it's still very early, it needs the right team, the right talents to work around that project. That talent, unless of course they are co-founders or they will need compensation. So you need money to build the solution, the product, so that it can become an actual product which is sellable. You need that. You need money, of course, to build a team. You need money to prepare your go-to-market strategies. You need money to have this operational. You need money to package your idea to an actual business. That's why, and that money is not for your own consumption. It's for the business needs. One, you need to hire talent. You need to buy. If it's a technology you're building, you need to buy hosting services. You need to pay. There are so many things you need to pay for your solution to become really a product which can be sellable. So you'll need money at that stage to build that. Even your go-to-market strategy, if you want to use social media to reach out, if you want to do promotion of ads and whatnot, you need to. You'll need money, definitely. You'll need money. So the money is either you bootstrap or basically use your own money to do that. Or you get people who have money to fund your business to do it, or you'll need to crowdsource. Through apps, you go to maybe GoFundMe, you publicly raise money from people, or get a VC or get an accelerator program which is going to prepare you and also give you access.
All right. What are the sometimes the challenges one would find in fundraising? Because I'm sure you're not giving free money.
No.
You're also in business.
Yeah.
When I look at that, I'll see you're also in business. What are you looking at? If you were to say, I'm doing this startup, this innovation stage, you look at the idea. What are those things that you pick that you are willing to risk your money to fund? I'm looking for I'm fundraising. Then you look at this and you want to risk. What are those things, particular things you would look? Someone out there may be thinking I need money, but what would you look at quickly and offer?
The first thing I look at from an investor perspective is the team.
The team.
The core team, the people behind the innovation. How committed are they? If it's one person or two people, are they full-time? Are they committed to this? What is their drive? What's their passion? Because there must be that kick which keeps them awake at night, and they need this thing to work. The team is the core thing, because other things, if it's a good innovation, we're able to help them, or an investor is able to come up with strategies to help it. But the team is I would say investors will look at the team first. Then they look, of course, at the problem solution fit. Then they are going to look at the market opportunity. Is this solution going to be like a big business? Does it have potential?
So first of all, the team.
The team.
And number two, the commitment. And when you're looking at the team, you're looking at commitment.
Yes.
Number two, you said
the problem solution fit.
Problem solution. What are they solving?
What are they solving? Is it an actual problem? Then I'm going to look at the market opportunity.
The opportunity in the market. Yes.
For this solution, is it something which can become really a good business, a big business? Because investors are looking for, if I'm going to give you 10 million, let's say Kenya shillings, am I able to get my 10x or 20x in X number of years? So the opportunity has to show that it's able to return that kind of investment. So the market opportunity.
So the market. So those three things you are willing to give money.
Yes.
And when you look at it, what about things like their compliances?
Now that's where you see these are early stage companies.
Yes, an early stage. Yes.
So most of the time they don't have compliance. They don't have compliance.
So you literally are funding. You're literally funding. Number one, you're funding the team. You're funding commitment. You're funding a problem, a solution, and you're also funding. You say the last one was the opportunity. So that's what you are looking for.
Yes.
These other things can be built along the way, and so it's important for those that are looking for funding to actually build those three key things.
Yes, those three things are very key. Very key even not even early stage startups alone, even in a big, people are raising Series A, Series B, big capital. Maybe they are looking for more than $10 million. Investors will still look at those key things.
Amazing. So I was listening to somebody, and somebody brought, I pick statements personally. Normally, I listen to statements, and so I picked a statement. I had somebody say about strategic fundraising. Where you are strategic, or the kind of fundraising you are looking for. You're not looking for everywhere. You are strategic in a certain. You are focused. Could you speak into it?
Yes, most of the time over my work when I'm helping organizations and startups raise capital, I usually meet them when they have been knocking the doors in the wrong,
the wrong places
for a long period. You find that as I've been raising money, maybe they're in mobility, they're looking for money in a company which is in agribusiness. They are knocking in the wrong investors. Strategically, you need to position your company and know. I am in maybe, let's say, for example, agribusiness startup. I have technology aspect in my company. So you're going to look for investors who are aligned to your business, not just all the investors. You could just target maybe 50, 20, I don't know. And out of that, if you position and package yourself properly, and if it aligns with the investment, of course, strategy and thesis, then you're able to raise capital without a lot of much frustration. I've found guys who have been literally frustrated by the whole fundraising process, even given up, and they almost want to abandon the entire business.
Wow.
Yeah, but you see, again, I usually tell startups or founders, the biggest investor of your business is not the investors themselves; it's the customers.
Wow.
It's the
customers,
the buyers, the buyers of your product. If you're able to make them happy, and they repeat buy and refer you to people to buy your solution.
Yes.
the investors actually, they might now start looking for you because you have a product which is, we'll say, a market fit for scale. So it becomes lesser strenuous looking for capital when you have a solution which your customer, and you treat your customers well, it becomes a bit easier. As opposed to thinking like raising capital is the only way out. Of course, it helps a lot to accelerate most of the...
So actually, some people don't even need capital.
Some
they just
don't
need
even
to walk out.
Yeah, they don't. There are some founders who walk out from deals, like literally on the table. I'm offering you $2 million for exchange of X number of shares. The founder will think through and say, I appreciate the offer, sir, but I'm gladly not ready to accept. And they walk away from money.
Yes.
Happens a lot. Why? Because they have been able to build a solution, and with or without investors, they're able to grow, and still the business is able to survive. And also that's something else which investors look at. Without the money, is the business able to run?
You know, somebody says something that was very interesting, that money is, in terms of capital, when you talk about capital, money is at the bottom. You know, he brought things like, first of all, the idea. He brought about the team. That's already capital. He talked about your social capital. Talks about relationships. He said, before you come to money, you must have exhausted all this.
Yes.
It's because sometimes we are looking for money, and we are forgetting there are people out there who can believe in you and walk with you along the way. And we have success stories of that. Give us, just before we go for a break, how the fundraising landscape, how it looks like. I mean, when you talk about fundraising, and you know, where do these monies come from?
So
there are people having some money under their bed or something.
So and it's good you mentioned something about relationship. Fundraising also is a journey, and you need to build the right relationship with investors, whether you are raising capital now or not.
Yes.
Just keep in tabs, do updates of for solution you're building. So far we have been able to do this, we've been able to forge this partnership. Keep them in loop. You build that kind of network, and when you now will be raising capital, they already know about you.
Yes.
They have heard about your business, they know your traction, they know your progress. It becomes very easy. But when you keep quiet, build quietly, then it will come out when you desperately need to raise capital. If you don't, you think you're going to shut down, you know, it becomes very hard. So capital comes from different sources I mentioned. One would be maybe venture capitalists, VC firms, who are, you know, they have funds, they're managing funds, they're able to deploy that capital on behalf of maybe where they have been, because also them they raise money from people, or corporates, or, you know, companies. So there is venture capitalists, I would say. There are also debt, private equities. There are companies which give debt, and also banks. Banks also, is a place you can also get capital if you have a good relation with your bank and you have some track record there. So money does not come from bed. People are not keeping money in the bed.
There's no money in the bedroom. There's something there's a thought in my mind that sometimes I think on my feet. Sometimes there's a disparity between this techie. This person has this innovation idea, and you know this guy will kick it, but then they don't have the business part. I was reading something about, of course, you know, Mr. Google and the guy from Apple in their early stages. About one of them was, all of them were techies, but then one of them began to see he needed to grow his business acumen in this matter, because yes, they have an innovation, yes, they have brought something, but then they don't have a business sense. So they were at the mercy of businessmen. You know, businessmen, when they come into your thing, they are looking for the money. They are not looking even for the future. You know, sometimes they are looking for, maybe some of them are even quick money. Talk about, and I would want you to speak out to someone who is basically, yes, you are a good tech guy, you're a good innovator. Why do you need financial literacy?
You need financial literacy, one, so that you're able to know how to, you know, a techie, somebody who is writing code, who is just doing the coding part of things. They are so much absorbed to the tech things. The code is working, I pushed it, now it's working, the app is live. that is the excitement part of it. But now converting that to money,
yes,
that's where the challenge is. And if you don't have the skill set to play both, then of course you're going to need a co-founder. Somebody who's going to believe in the dream. Maybe, you know, you relate well. Maybe you have, you know, something which can keep you like together, tight, to come in and play the part of, you know, the business aspect, so that you're able to complement each other. And you will find out most of the VC firms, they will not invest in single founders. They invest in a company which has at least 2 founders.
Yes.
Why? Because they know anything can happen, and apart from that, they're able to complement their skill set. So, and in any setup, you'll find that you'll need, of course, the businessman, because he's going to make things, you know, turn out the whole idea to money if it's a profit-making entity. So you'll need that complementary aspect in your business.
You have a fan online.
Sorry?
There's somebody called Rose online saying she's telling me you brought the right person to this interview.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Rose. Please, if you have any question, please do so and ask. Yeah, we're talking about, we are looking at the landscape. We are saying the landscape. So I heard you mention VC. You also mentioned something about crowdfunding. Are there any other, you know, how does the landscape look like? Because why we have to do this is because most of us believe money is always in the bank. Or maybe, you know, an attitude makes you think money is only here, but then it's available in other places. Maybe you open it up for us.
So actually, there's plenty of money out there. That's the surprising thing.
Where is it, brother? We are looking for it.
There's plenty of money out there, especially it's a question of packaging yourself, selling your story properly, and aligning yourself to the people, to the VC or to the funds which invest in whatever you are building. You remember you mentioned something about strategic fundraising. You like strategically position yourself to the funds which align with what you're doing. And of course, mentioning that there is plenty of money out there, it also comes with networks, the right networks. You know, being in the right rooms, people knowing the right people who are able to give you heads up, who are able to guide you, are able to do warm introductions for you to some of the funds which they know, maybe they have a relationship with, and you're able to easily close around or a fundraise if you are fundraising. So there's money out there. It's a question of positioning and packaging and going for it.
Amazing. That so basically relationships, you say the way you package yourself, your relationships, and okay, you know, these things don't matter to many people. You know, techies, man. You've been to a techie room. I'm sure you've been there. The way guys look, man, they show up and their hair is just standing out, you know. These heavy glasses, you know, guys have just showed up. They've slept the whole night on that thing, you know, coding and making sure that this thing must work. They are looking for, why is it not, you know, and then you bring them this. Do they lose? Do they lose by that level of presentation? Do they lose in terms of, do they, you know, sometimes, because some people are so keen on presentation, they forget the real thing.
The real problem. I don't think they do, because if you go to Silicon Valley in the US, you're going to find guys who are in t-shirts, who are shaggy hair, but they are, as far as they are solving an actual problem, then they raise millions of dollars for their startups. Amazing. It's a question of packaging and having really a solution, a solution which solves an actual problem, and you package it properly. In terms, when I'm saying packaging, it also goes down to even the documentation of your company. Pitch deck, do you have a proper pitch deck? If you don't know how to, you approach somebody who does it. Actually, I help, when helping early stage startups, I'm able to help them compile a proper presentable pitch deck which is able to raise capital. Amazing. You know, that is the first thing, like almost the first thing. You know,
you've spoken about Silicon Valley, so we'll pick it up there. I hear Kenyan, we have our valley, but we need to find out how much is it producing.
Okay.
Well, we get to a break, and this has been an amazing conversation. Please get back into the conversation. Let's talk after the show. Don't lose this, you know, this link. Please send it to somebody, and after the break, we are going to talk to our friend Abedi, and let me tell you, things will come out better than they were. See you after the break.
Elevate your brand with Elevate TV, a premier media station in the country. We specialize in video production, live coverage, advertising and social media marketing. We do quality production for YouTube videos, podcasts and live events. Transform your vision into reality with creativity and precision. Call us today and elevate your story on 0705 872 237.
Life Church International, the Apostolic House, is taking a bold step of faith, introducing the Infinity Eastern Bypass Land Project, our mission to secure land for God's house, a place where generations will be transformed. To encourage your support, Apostle David Juma is giving a powerful gift, his transformational book, Restructuring Your Money. With every gift of only 2,000 Kenyan shillings, you receive this life-changing book, personally autographed by Apostle David, and you sow into a legacy of faith. Partner with us, possess the land, build God's house. The time is now.
We are back talking about fundraising for your tech innovation. Are you out there trying to solve a problem and you're using technology and you don't have, you seemingly like you want to give up because of funding? Please, let's come here. Let's talk about this. Abedi's in the house. And if you know somebody, please send them the link quickly, because this could be the life-saving opportunity for this individual. Abedi, yes. Silicon Valley. Kenya has our own valley. We have at least an estimate of what the Silicon Valley churns out, in billions. Our valley, have you ever heard of what they produce?
Silicon Valley, oh yeah.
Here. Silicon we know.
No, I don't have the actual statistics or the numbers, but I know most of the startups last year, they've been able to raise millions of dollars. But again, as I mentioned earlier, raising money also is not a guarantee of success of a company. It goes beyond the capital itself, the money you're pumping into business. It goes to, of course, narrows back again to the team, and the team, I mean the commitment, the attitude, the character, and what they really want to achieve, because it has been also noted previously where startups would get funding, and after maybe 6 months or 18 months, they shut down after a lot of capital injection from investors. So I would say, again, it's not the capital which really guarantees success of a company. But it's good to have, if you have the right intentions, you're able to build that dream company you really wanted to, and it scales to the levels it can quickest because you have the resources.
Amazing. You talked about you help startups prepare for their pitch deck and things like that. Are there stages in fundraising where people, you say there's a stage where you now come in and say we need fundraising for this stage, or is this just fundraising generally?
No, there are stages. There is pre-seed. There is a seed, there is a Series A, Series B, Series C, Series D.
Talking about seed, churches deal with seeds.
Yeah. So pre-seed, the stage pre-seed is early stage, really. Like you just need, maybe you're going to get an angel investor, somebody who is an high net worth individual, and believes in you and is going to give maybe $50,000 or $5 million, whatever the amount of 10,000 Kenya shillings, you never know. They just support you, That is, I would say it's a pre-seed, because it's not a lot of capital. Then after you raise pre-seed, you build your solution, it becomes something now which can be taken to the market. Then you might need now to raise a seed capital, depending with the geographical location where you are.
So basically, funding, when you talk about process, when you talk about the stages, you're talking about, is it at the, when you talk about, you say pre-seed, are we talking about at the time of, you know,
Ideation.
Ideation. So at that point, there's a seed that needs to be put in place to help in terms of
Development.
development of that. Then after that stage is over, there's another stage where now it also needs its funds to be able to
scale to go to the market.
And then even when it goes to the market, there's another
stage
injection of funds
for growth
and maybe penetration into the market. Amazing.
Then it goes to scale, because pre-seed, seed, then now you start series A. Series A, these are companies which are raising now maybe $10 million, $15 million, $20 million, 40, whatever. The series B now, they are raising even $100 million, you know, or more, depending with the type of the funds or the, you know, the purpose of the fund.
So as you talk like that, I'm just thinking, are there startups or innovations that get destroyed or lost because at certain stage they never found the right, you know, the right injection of funds?
Yes, correct. It also, as others shut down, because maybe they got funding which helped them develop the solution. Now it's something they can take to the market, and after that, because now it is now more resources to make it commercial, you know, a product in the market. Then at that stage, maybe the money you had, the runway of the money you had has come to an end. You don't have more resources to keep it. And maybe you take another longer time to try and raise capital. Then you don't get the capital.
Amazing.
Some shut down at that stage.
So basically, sometimes when you see some startups and some innovations have shut down, you should not be quick to talk.
No,
because maybe it could be a funding issue that was not at the right time.
At the right time.
Wow. You know, it's good to put these things in perspective, because sometimes you say, this guy was just playing games with us.
No.
You know?
Sometimes it's not about,
It's basically at that stage, they didn't have the funds to run this stage. Wow. So it means that for a tech to be able to bring out a project, bring out a project into the market, so the levels or maybe the stages of funding must be clear. That means you can't work alone.
You can't. You need the right investors. First, even the investors need to be the right, apart from the team.
The right investors.
Also, when you are receiving money from investors, you need also to be sure this is the right investor for you. You know, if they don't align with your vision, they don't you don't feel like it's the right fit for whoever you're looking for to support you, then as a startup founder, you have all the right to decline that offer, no matter how juicy. Because there are some who raise, they get frustration between that relationship, which is hard to manage between the investor and the startup. Then the whole thing becomes messy, and they end up shutting down, having a lot of disagreements, that kind of a thing.
I'm just thinking of something. My mind is running into something. I'm thinking about this investor who comes in, funds you, but the intention is ulterior in terms of, there are people who see the end faster than even the innovator himself. They see this thing is big. This man is, and we have a case like that in this country. This thing is big. Where it's going is big. All it needs, this guy does not have what it needs to take it there, but I can take it there. All I need is to maybe to get maybe the whole idea or a way to capture the whole business. And we've seen that. What would happen if something like that would happen to you? I mean, it would happen to someone you're trying to help. What would you just think about on your feet now?
Yes, and I think it goes down again to working with the right people.
Yes.
As you build your company. There are people you'll need to have. First, you'll need to consult your lawyer very heavily, and not just a lawyer who is conversant with such a kind of transactions and deals, who is able to give you proper advice and get you the proper documentation to sign to cover you, as well as you get this person on board who might have ulterior motives, so that the legal paperwork covers you from the onset. That is very important. I know sometimes it might be costly to get a lawyer who is able to do that perfectly for you. But again, if you overlook that and you just blindly sign documents, you might find out later you actually sold your own company without knowing.
You sold the company.
Yes.
You are paid.
You are paid,
and you even actually returned the money.
And actually, it happens. There are some startup founders who get funding, and at some point, they exit the business with nothing.
Oh my!
Like,
yes. Now you are looking at the other side.
Yes.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay. Yeah.
So you need to involve your lawyer very well and get a mentor who has been in that space, or come to me. I'm able to give you a piece of advice.
No. That's why you're here. That's why you're here, my friend, because you know, people have burnt fingers, and we wouldn't want that to happen. You know, one of the key things we do at Elevate, by the way, is we do what we call advancing kingdom lifestyle. In other words, trying to bring the right information for people, bring information that is right, relevant, and also that is needed at what they are doing. Now, before you do that, there's a question online. Somebody called Malakwen Kalundi. He's asking this question. Hi, I am Malakwen. In which stage does okay, the English is a bit interesting. He says, in which stage can someone understand that your innovation or your okay, I think it means innovation because it's written innovative, will hit the market? At what stage do you see this innovation will hit the market? I think you've answered that before, but you can, for the sake of Malakwen.
Yeah, I think it's a good question for you to know exactly whether this solution you are building is fit for the market.
And when he says hit the market, we don't know, but I'm just saying maybe it's going to
blow.
Yeah.
That translates to your customers, the target customers. If the customers, even at the early stage, have been paying for your solution or are willing, not even just willing, they have actually removed money from their wallet and paid for that solution, and repeatedly done that, referred somebody else, done it, you've seen people are buying, there's growth happening even without a lot of capital injection into marketing, then of course those are indicators. It tells you this is something which is going to be something. So I think customers are the ones to really give you the insight.
You saw how our time is going.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking about, I think in points. Mimi, I normally think in points. I want to look at how can I create a successful fundraising? How do I successfully fundraise? Are there points that you can put together? You know, the first thing that's still in my mind, you say developing what you call pitch deck, and I would maybe answer a winning pitch deck that once you take it to these people, you can get a funding. Are there other ways to successfully do that you can quickly think about?
Yes, I think preparing a winning pitch deck is like step one.
Yeah.
Because that's where you need to compile your business in a snapshot, maybe 10 pages, 10 slides or 11 slides. Whereby you are able to quickly communicate what you do, the problem you solve, the traction you have, the potential, the market size, the competitors and whatnot, the fundraising and the use of funds, basically in a snapshot with proper presentation, graphics and whatnot, something which is appealing and not too wordy, not too rosy. Basically a winning pitch deck. That's like step one. Step two is, of course, now aligning that and selling that story, the story of what you're building, to the right investors. Also strategic targeting of the investors. Again, if you have a network or you have people who have network to introduce you to those investors, it becomes even further easier to close around which you are raising. Then of course, I would say a winning pitch deck, sell your story like the world is ending, and strategically align with the right investors, you can really close fundraising easily. Then of course now having documentation ready, preparing what you call a data room, whereby you're able to have all the company information in one place, so that when an investor asks you, can you send me the company's Seratoyo for the cap table to see who are the directors, can you send me the legal registration of the company, can I see your compliance? You don't like fumble back and forth trying to send this and that. You have like one-stop shop. You have all the documentation ready. If they ask this, you just give them access to your information. Then they're able to quickly check through your company, information, whatever they want. Is it financial projections? Is it audited accounts? Is everything basically in one stop. Then it becomes very easy. It reduces the back and forth.
Yes.
Exchange of information. that also narrows down the timelines for you to close around. So I did a winning pitch deck, properly done, sell the story, present like, you know, you're selling your vision.
Yeah, liver.
Yeah. Then after the right documentation, of course, now network, target the right investors for you.
You know, I had somebody say, you're the first believer of your innovation.
Your business.
So when you go out there, make me believe it.
Yes.
You have to make me buy this thing.
Exactly.
You know, one time I was watching this Shark Tank thing. And of course, wacha ingine, kuna ile original. And I would see how people, you know, you have exactly 2 minutes, even not even 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes to pitch and get a funding right there and an investor. And you know, of course, it's entertaining. First of all, they are creating entertainment, but at the same time trying to create a business. You know, raise a business out of you and also invest, because then they are looking for also money. And so these are seated billionaires, you know, then you come pitch. And there they are looking at each other, they say, I'm out.
Yeah, actually, it's good you mentioned that. You should be able to pitch your business in 60 seconds.
Amazing.
Like in 60 seconds, you're able to tell people what you do, how you do it, how far you're, the traction, and what you're looking for, how you 60. If you can't do that,
what is called the elevator one?
Elevator pitch. 1 minute pitch. In 1 minute, you should be able to communicate properly and be able to create interest from the
And I was reading the source of that elevator pitch the other day.
Oh, yeah.
The guy got into, he's really looking for this guy, and he's very hard to find. So he gets into a lift with him. By the time they are downstairs, the guy has a deal.
That's actually called an elevator pitch.
You know, by the time, because this guy, you never find him. He's always in meetings. He's always running around. But then you need him. So it's how much you need him. So by the time he hits the ground,
you should be done.
You should be done. And either deal or no deal.
Or no deal, yeah.
You know, and it made me think. By the way, when I was watching these guys, they are very. They don't seem like they are doing much, but you see the kind of questions they ask. They don't ask these big questions. Do you have an ID? You know, those ones for the bank.
Those are later.
They literally want to know what you've just said. Commitment, your commitment. I had one say, you don't even believe in your company. You don't even believe in what you're saying. You know, you have to be the first believer. Then, somebody asked him, I mean, how much are you looking at in the next 2 years? How much are you looking at penetration? In fact, one said, I'm not even buying I'm buying the idea because I think the idea is brilliant. It just needs some little. And what it needs, I think I have the networks, I have the influence, and the money will come later. And then, of course, they had an after story. They had, you know, after about some episodes, they came back and showed this is a business, this is where it is, and you know, I liked that. So I want to ask you the same. Give us a success story. Give us a, you know, a case study, a success story that you've handled and you can be able to see.
Many. They are around.
I hope you have permission.
Yeah, maybe I would mention. One. This one actually closed around last month. They got the money. It's a company which is in manufacturing.
Okay.
They are in. They're doing renewable plastic manufacturing. They're using, you know, waste paper and whatnot. They got some funds. I don't want to publicly mention them. There's another company which is in the mobility space, which was able to close $1 million. I think should be able to get the money either at some point June. Then there are a couple of others I don't want to mention here.
Don't mention. If you don't have permission, don't mention.
Yeah. There are I'm helping companies actually from aviation. There is a company which is looking for around $10 million. They want to buy jets, 2 extra jets. There is another one which is agribusiness.
Any people want to buy jets?
Yes. Extra jets. Not
It's
agribusiness which is doing very well actually.
So
a couple of businesses.
I want to talk about, as you seek out, there's an aspect people don't really look into. When you're seeking out this funding and fundraising, the place of integrity. Are you open? Are you hiding? You know, there's those people who play the gambler side, you know. I have this card behind my You know, are you the kind of person that is transparent? Could you be trusted? You know, and why I'm asking this question is I was listening to a business TED talk the other day, and this man, big billionaire, and he said, money is not the issue. Money has never been the issue. He said he raised his business without money. I mean, you know, relationships. And he said, do you have the trust capital? You see, there are people you transact with. There are people who can look at what you're doing, and they can ask you, who has worked with you? They find out who has worked with you, and that is enough for them. Because, you know, there are people you don't transact with unless you're honest.
Yeah, true.
Unless you're transparent, unless you're reliable, unless you're, you know, people who, beyond just the ability to innovate, beyond the ability to come up with a technology, there's that aspect of the integrity of a man.
So I would say, actually, trust is, I think, everything in this kind of deals. Because
Amazing. Trust is everything.
It's everything. Wow. Because one, remember, here I am helping a company raise their next round. I'm going to prepare all the documentation which needs to be seen by the investors. In documentation, I mean literally everything about the company. Their financial position, their bank statements, literally everything. And it goes down to trust and confidentiality.
Yes.
You know, and over the time, I think what has happened actually to me is most of the clients have referred their friends who are in business to me because of the nature of how we conduct business with them, because they're giving me all the information about the organization, you know, even their projects in 5 years from today and all that, so that I'm able to build a case and defend it before investors and really get money for them, for the client. So trust is everything, is actually everything, and that's how I've been able to even get clients myself, because of that kind of referrals and introductions. So
the trust capital is very key.
Very important.
Very key, that you can be trusted. You, first of all, the one who is looking for the funding, can be trusted with confidentiality. You can be trusted with that you're not selling the idea. I have a friend of mine who lost a whole idea. Yeah. Lost an idea, you know, got this team that was helping him, and they discovered the person has not done their paperwork in terms of registering the business. They have not registered the idea, they have not copyrighted the idea. By that, they just left, changed the name, and right now it's a running business, and this young man is just crying out here. And of course, you know, in Kenya we have a famous statement, amefanyiwa ile kitu.
No, I mean, it's good to see who you are working with. That's very important, actually.
But you see, people come, and yes, they are this kind of people that you know, they are they are looking very trusting. But then along the way, they discover a few things. One, this man is not well organized. This thing is big. We'll do our thing. Yeah,
okay. That I would say, of course, there are such characters in the society, but again, there's something I believe: ideas can't be stolen, because an idea is just an idea. Actually turning ideas to actual business is very hard. No matter how viable and big and potential they look, converting that idea to an actual product and sell it and run with it properly, it's the hardest part. It's not even the raising the capital. That is the hardest bit. So if people steal ideas, and sometimes they might flop, because you are running with a vision which you don't know where to take it. You just think it's a big thing. Again, as a smart investor, you don't want to be running around. You want to invest in 20 businesses or 50 businesses. So you cannot be running with an idea, like running it, carrying it all over. Unless just a quack.
So the concept of integrity and being able to be trusted. first of all, as the one looking for funding, and even the other one who is also diligent in all this. Because at the end of the day, they say once you've made the money and you don't have the character, it will show.
It will show.
Sure.
It will show. And also, as I mentioned at some point, even the startups who are looking for capital, they also need to do due diligence on the investors themselves, the people they want to come. Because once they come in, they'll be like your spouse. You'll be with them all over, everywhere, every updates, meetings, whatnot, everything. So you need to, like, do I want to walk the long journey with these people? If the answer is no, don't even think twice. Leave it. Go, you'll align. There are so many great investors who mean well, who are only looking for business opportunities to invest, and they're going to work with you.
Wow, you know, our time is quite running. I want to ask you something about research, the place of research and funding. Of course, like you said in the beginning, that you don't just fund, you want to look at specific things. Assuming of all those three things, I have the commitment, the team is good, I have you can see the idea, they're solving the problem that I'm solving, and you can see that it is marketable. Beyond that, what are the key other things you would want to pay attention to? Because sometimes these are okay, but there's always the but, where you will feel, how much research have you done? What is, you know, and by the way, as the one who is funding, do you also come up with one, not funding, but also, because when you go to the one who is funding, there is information they will need. But then you who is going to seek for that funding, you need some information, because you are aware of this party, or you know what this party will ask for, and you know this other party. You've been part of both. So do you have, like, some of the key things you must have before you even talk?
You see the good
the must-haves.
Yes. I think the but of you have the three things in check. There are, of course, maybe around 10 things, but the three are the key. So when you are preparing, once you prepare the deck, the pitch deck, a nice one, it will capture everything in a snapshot, you know. So once that is check, then the investor is interested to proceed with this conversation. Then it becomes easy, because one, the other thing is aligning. Are these investors aligned with this kind of business? Are the investors actually even deploying capital at the moment? You know, because we're going to be chasing investors. Yes, they are aligned, but they also don't have money to invest. Are they currently deploying? You know.
Amazing. We have a little, very, very short time, and I want you to talk about what you do. I want you to look at the camera. But before you do that, I want you to look at the same camera and talk to a techie and tell them what they need to, you know, why you exist, and what they need to do quickly, and then you can tell us what you do and where you do it.
Okay. So founders out there who are building their solutions, don't stop. Don't stop. Keep building. Keep refining. Keep at it. Get the right network. If need be, get a mentor, work with somebody who has walked the journey. If there is any challenge, go to, you know, meet the right people who are able to quickly guide you, so that you don't overstay building a solution thinking it's a big business. Probably it's in your mind you think it's big, sorry to say this, but sometimes it not be big as you see it. So get somebody who is able to guide you through that quickly. And once you have that somebody, it becomes very easy for you to commercialize whatever you're building, and he is going to help you either tell you, man, how I'm seeing this thing, you might need to change here to make it, you know, to make it make money quickly. Or you're doing very well, can we prepare the documentation now? We started looking for investors if you want to raise capital. That is very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So yeah.
What you do? Where you do it? In a minute. You do the pitch. You do the elevator.
So yeah, my name is Abedi Muange. As I mentioned earlier, I run a consultancy firm which is called Matck. At Matck, we help organizations and startups to be ready for investment. We also help them with the right networks, forge the right partnerships for them, and also help them raise capital for their growth. We have done this since we are not very old, since last year. Since then, we have been able to have success stories of around 4 companies. We have only 8 in the pipeline. We are looking for more businesses which are looking for help to fundraise, to get investor ready, to raise their next capital, and that's where we are here for you.
All right, where can we find you?
You can find me, I'm big on LinkedIn, just search Abedi Muange. That's where you can really find me online. I think I only use LinkedIn actually.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, funding, ideas, innovation, this is the place, this is a conversation. We're going to pick it up at some other point. Do not lose your innovation. Keep innovating, keep doing it, keep running, because out here there are people who are waiting for those solutions. Well, I cannot say much. I've been your host, Moses Muiruri, together with Abedi Muange here. Muange, I will thank you for being part of Elevate Television. Keep watching television. Remember, the numbers down there, you can get in touch with us. If you want to get in touch with Muange, we will get in touch with him for you. And also, if you need certain kind of programming that you think we need to air for you, please do so. Write to us, text us. We shall align. God bless you. Have yourself a wonderful day. Keep it elevated.